Hi everyone, it's Evangelina here at etrailer, and today we are looking at our Swagman Anti-Rattle hitch bolt 4" and 1/4 and 2" hitches here at etrailer. If you have a base bike rack like our Swagman XTC that does not have a locking hitch pin, this is a great option to upgrade to. Or if your bike rack already has a locking hitch pin bolt but you lost it, or it's damaged, it's broken, or you need to replace it, you can get this one as well. We have here the old anti-rattle bolt, and we have here the new anti-rattle bolt. So as you can see here, it's already a big difference from the old to the new. The old one is a lot shorter and it only has a clip for the pin, while the new one is much longer and has this lock at the end. Let's take a look at the anti-rattle bolt itself. This is made of triple chrome plating, so you can see here that it's not only very shiny, but that plating helps prevent rust and corrosion, allowing your lock to last a bit longer. As for the lock itself, we have this hard lock that springs onto your bolt. As you can see, it just pops into place. At the end, we have this nice dust cover that is very easy to remove. You don't have to be pulling a piece out of the way. You just push that and then access your lock. And this helps prevent dirt and grime and dust from getting into there and making your lock less effective. With the keys attached, the entire system is 8.5 inches long. That's just something to keep in mind in case you don't have enough clearance around your hitch. A couple things to note before you upgrade to this anti-rattle bolt or use it as a replacement is that this fits your Swagman bike racks that are 1 1/4 large or have a 2" sleeve on top of their 1 1/4 shank. Now, if you do have a solid 2" bike rack, then I highly recommend getting the other Swagman anti-rattle bolt that fits that exact bike rack. Now, I did talk with my coworkers about this lock and some other locks. We did a little comparison, asked some questions. If you want to watch that, that's coming right up. Cool, so we have a bunch of different locks here that I got pulled just to try out and see the differences. Do you have any questions in particular about any of the locks while they are down here?
Okay, so we've got 2 Swagman locks and we've got 2 Kuat locks.
Ew.
And as I understand it, one is for the 1 1/4 rack for Swagman and Kuat, and the other one is for 2" racks for Swagman and Kuat. Okay. And one of them will not work in a 2" rack.
No. So the thing is with the shanks for solid 2" racks is that, like this, we have the XC2, which is an 1 1/4 and a 2" sleeve. So that fits into this one because the hole for the hitch pin hole is smaller, so the thread really catches on. So if you do have a 2" solid rack, like for the Kuat, you have the Kuat Sherpa, then it's not going to work with that because then you just have the smaller 1 1/4 hitch pin lock rattling around inside that hole.
And that would not be very secure, correct?
Oh, it wouldn't, no. You'd lose all that anti-rattle function and it will put more stress on your lock itself because that's what's holding it in place. It's not evenly distributed anymore.
Now, the 2 Swagman locks are anti-rattle. Are the Kuat locks anti-rattle?
No.
They are not. So we have here the hitch pin locks. So they're not anti-rattle locks. And as you can see, there's no thread on there. There's nothing for the anti-rattle function. It just sticks in there and then is locked down. Now, that's because a lot of the Kuat, it's over here. A lot of the Kuat bike racks have their own anti-rattle knob at the end though. So some of your bike racks don't need an anti-rattle hitch lock. They just need a hitch pin lock.
Which all of the Kuats, just as long as they fit inside the hitch, they'll basically work on any of the bike racks you have, as long as they don't need a specific type of like anti-rattle bolt or anything like that.
So I guess that would make it a little bit more universal.
Yeah.
So the Kuats are fairly universal, but the Swagmans are pretty much going to be specific to Swagman racks.
Yep.
Yeah. The thread pattern is very important because I know the different bike racks have their own different thread pattern, and that's what causes the anti-rattle to happen. So if you use a different lock on your bike rack, you can risk damaging your lock and or your bike rack.
And you definitely don't want to force it in. If it doesn't go in, you just stop, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Or else you'll have to end up replacing your shank for your bike rack.
Sure.
If you want to compare, though, this is the anti-rattle bolt that comes with the XC2. So there's no locking function on the XC2 because it's like your base bike rack. So for people that want to upgrade to the anti-rattle hitch lock, you can see how much of a difference there is in size, quality. It can lock. This is what you're upgrading from.
Yeah, there's quite a big difference there.
Yeah. There's the same amount of thread though, but it's the lock itself is different.
Yeah, and the quality is definitely very telling between these two. Maybe it's just because it's universal, but the Swagmans are definitely way, way better made compared. You want to give the little shake test with this one?
Especially here without the keys.
Without the keys.
Especially, so the first thing we noticed when we put it in the lock was how wobbly it is inside the lock. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it from over all this.
Yeah, it definitely feels a lot different compared to when you have the Swagman in. So there's a big difference in feel as well.
Not to mention, even between the Kuats, this one definitely is a lot better. I think just the design in general is a lot more appealing than just the big tumbler like they have on this one, which, I mean, it'll work for sure. But compared that to just like this looks a lot more streamlined. It's something that I'd actually want to have on my vehicle and on my bike rack.
Yeah.
So.
And that is the 2-inch one, correct?
That is the 2-inch one.
It is the 2-inch one. Have y'all had experience with attaching like a hitch lock on your bike racks or your cargo carriers?
Can you run through it real quick?
Yeah. So, like for these, the main thing with this though is you need a tool to tighten it down, since it is an anti-rattle bolt. Which is why I also recommend picking up the performance tool and socket, because that just makes my life a lot easier. You just put it in, hand tighten it as much as you can, then use your socket or your tool to really tighten it down, and then you lock it into place. So this is nice because you can't remove the keys until you have the lock in the spring. So that means you don't lose your lock until you actually.
Another good thing. Oh, go ahead.
You wouldn't need a tool at all for the Kuat ones. They just slide right in.
Yep.
They do just slide right in. So that's one thing, and that's pro for this type of.
It's quicker to get on. So if you're in a hurry,
it just slides right on, and then you just pop that right into place and take that right off. So you're not tightening anything down.
Okay,
I will say, though, that we do have kits, luckily, for the Swagmans that come with a cable lock, which is really nice. And that's always super useful if you have, like, we have 2 bikes on there. Maybe they're a little bit more expensive. It just gives you a little bit more, you know, safe of mind. And the fact that they are both key to like is super nice.
They are.
Yeah, that's nice that you can use one key for both locks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, like, after you tighten down your hitch lock, that's when you put the cable in. Yeah, right there. And then you lock it into place with this. That's another reason why they're a little bit longer, so that you have space for that cable lock.
Sure.
But yeah. Anytime I would recommend these though, I always recommend getting the performance tool as well.
And what size of wrench is that again?
So this uses a 3/4 socket. Not sure what drive it is though.
But at least if you're able to get a 3/4 socket, it'll work on these.
Yeah.
So, and most people will usually have, if they have some kind of socket set up, they'll have a 3/4 on them. But
Yeah.
if you happen not to, you can always just pick it up with us, which is nice.
Thanks. So you did a very good job of displaying all the difference between all 4 locks. Looks like each one of them might have an advantage and a disadvantage depending on what you're doing.
It does, yeah. At first I wasn't so sure about the hitch pin style, but it is a lot faster to use. So if your bike already has an anti-rattle knob on it, why not?
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you very much for showing us that.
Thank you for calling and the questions.
All right. Well, you take care.
You too. Thanks. Bye, everyone. To start your install of your hitch pin lock, you just need to reach over to your hitch and insert it in. Get that anti-rattle bolt in there, and then start tightening it down with just your fingers. Once you have it tightened down as much as you can use the included tool with your bike rack, or you can pick up a performance wrench with a 3/4 socket just to make your life a little bit easier, and tighten it down from there. Once your bolt is as tight as you can get it, you can then use your lock, and this has a spring. So all you need to do is put it in there and push against your lock. It snaps into place. Then just take your keys out and put your dust cover back on there. You can see how our lock is secure. My final thoughts about this anti-rattle bolt with its lock is if you really want to protect your bike rack, this does a great job of doing that, as it does deter theft since you have a lock in place, but also it protects itself. Its plating helps protect it from rust and corrosion. Its hitch lock here has an actually working dust cover, so it all works together just to have it last a little bit longer and keep your bike rack a little bit more safe. I'm a big fan of it, and I definitely recommend it if you want to upgrade from your old anti-rattle bolt or replace your old or missing one. And that was a look at our Swagman anti-rattle hitch pin lock for 1 1/4 and 2-inch hitches here at etrailer.com.